Hello, welcome back to the ministry. And today we are talking about this is an interesting word God gave me. Now, there's a little bit of a backstory on here that the Lord showed me, okay? A lot of y'all have dealt with delays, okay? And there's going to be a word that's going to pop up where I talk about um, how God was trying to move the delays for your spouse, but things kept popping up and they weren't allowing it. So the Lord gave me this, okay? Now we all know if you follow the pacing of a lot of the words that I've released, I keep talking about this counterfeit keep coming back up, right? Come in, come out, come in, come out, come in, come out, da 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 da. Because I get sick and tired of talking about this daggone counterfeit person. Because I'm like, God, we're moving on. We're moving on. But I have to realize that I'm leading a ministry where some of y'all have not gotten out of this phase of the journey yet. So I have to talk about this for you. Okay? So this is what I keep seeing pop up. Now, for me, I know these blockades have been removed and being removed and so on and so forth. But it's been a timing thing, right? God does things in his own timing, but when he does it, it's going to make an impact. Matter of fact, let me read the scripture I was just looking at because I think that's the one that was talking about it. Hold on. For I longed to visit you so I could bring you some spiritual gifts that will help you grow strong in the Lord. That wasn't it. It was Ecclesiastes that I was looking for. Hold on. I just read it a minute ago. That's why I thought that this was the one that I was looking at. But no, it was. Where is it? There it is. There it is. Yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. Everything has a timing and a season, y'all. And he has planted eternity in humans' hearts, but not even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from the beginning to the end. Okay? This has been a timing thing. Some of y'all been wondering, why is it still here? Why are you still allowing it, Lord? When are you going to move it, Lord? When are you going to take it out? When are you going to remove the situation? When is this going to get to a point where it's going to make sense? Catch this. Lord showed me this the other day. And I was sitting there like, God, for real? And for some of y'all, I need you to pay close attention. Those of you that were talking to me about there was a skip moment. And it wasn't so much that it was skipped, it was audibly unable to hear what I said in the Snow White review. It was one section that somebody brought my attention to. I did not understand. And I'm going to try to repeat it here because what I'm going to say right now is going to line up. Okay? First, I've been seeing this commercial and it's interesting because I've been in prayer, right? I pray, I consecrate, I do what I do. And then all of a sudden, I get this commercial keeps popping. I only see it. Catch it. I only see this commercial after I've prayed to break some things in my kingdom spouse's life. That anything involving a counterfeit, so on and so forth, I go into prayer, I break, right? After I've broken it and I come out of my prayer time, I see this commercial. Only after that. I don't see it on the days that everything is cool and ain't nothing dealing with no counterfeits or nothing. I don't see it when I'm praying about other things. I only see it after I've prayed specifically about breaking certain things and certain assignments against my God ordained spouse. I see this commercial. What's the commercial? It's a commercial for Verizon's Apple iPhone that you see a young girl recording a music video, okay? And they show how this music video is recorded on her iPhone, okay? But the name of it, the song that she's singing is I Wanna Get Him Back. And if you've seen the commercial, she's talking about, I want revenge on him. I don't want him to be happy. All this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting up there like, following up on this. Now, other day, I'm sitting here. My dad fell asleep. And he got the Lucy hour on. Lucy Dizzy hour. And there was other things I was trying to work on that day. So I was waiting for when he was about to step out the house so I could work on him, right? But I'm wondering, he don't usually leave late like this. What's going on? God purposely made sure that he left late. Why? Because I needed to see this one clip that did not come on until like 1:15 in the evening. And had he left, I would have been sitting here just like I'm sitting here right now with the TV off, recording the content that I needed to record for you guys. So I would have never seen it. But literally, he left right about 15 minutes after this clip came up on television. But I knew that God wanted me to see it. I would have never seen it had the day not played out the way that it did. This is what happened in the episode of I Love Lucy. Well, Lucy and Desi Hour. So, Lucy, in this one scene, there was an actress that was a major film star in that time frame, right? But she was doing a play locally with them. She inquired and got all of them put into the play. In one of the scenes, she got into a spat with the actress and the actress was saying all this kind of stuff about her. So she said, oh, okay. But catch this scene. This is what happened in the scene. Lucy comes out on stage dressed like the queen. Dressed like the queen. Desi is dressed like the Prince King Duke. Okay? What happens next is, as she comes out, he's trying to figure out, where's the queen at? So he presents himself to her because he's like, where is my queen at? She says, I don't know. Maybe she's in the dungeon. She's like, he said, I'm supposed to propose to her. She said, well, she's not here right now. I guess you're going to have to propose to me instead. You see this foolery? Do you see this? Do you see it? So then the one that was supposed to be the real queen broke out the dungeon and got back on stage to get her position back. She said, somebody let me out of the royal dungeon. Why am I talking about this? Well, do you not remember in the movie Snow White? I was doing the review, and I believe this was the segment that got the audio was messed up. It was the moment in the film when Snow White escaped the dungeon. People were saying that the audio was messed up, that they couldn't hear what I was saying, but it was so important they really wanted to hear what I had to say. So Lord, help me out here. I'm going to repeat what I said to the best of my ability. Lord, just tell me what you need me to say. What happened in that scene? The queen, who, remember, she usurped the throne by killing the father after she got Snow White's father to marry her. She killed him, right? Then put Snow White down in the dungeon as a child, right? And the child had to stay down there for 6-7 years or so. Remember? When she came to the realization that her beauty was connected to the fact that Snow White was down in the dungeon, and the fact that the one that was most fairest was who? Snow White. So she figured out, I gotta go down there and have somebody take her out. So she sent her twin brother to go down and get her, right? But remember, coming back to that moment, Snow White was sitting in the dungeon and she had found something. It was a screw that was loose, okay, in the wrought iron bars outside of the window. It was a screw loose. She unloosened the screw and took the screw out, put it under her, the mattress pillow, something like that. And she laid down real quick, acting like everything was cool when she heard them coming down the hallway, right? She's laying there, and here comes the queen's brother, okay? Some of you have been in a level of isolation. God has allowed you to remain in that level of isolation for a period of time. Sunray Speaks recently did a word called he is shutting their mouths and you are gifted. So with that, she was talking about the fact that we have been made to look a certain way, okay? Like we were lowly, like we weren't anything of importance, right? But we were hidden in plain sight, okay? Now, she does a continuation of the word. You want to go watch that continuation of the word where she says, I think it's called confirmation to the word that I just released or something like that. Now, coming back, you were made to look like a lowly person. Snow White was made to look like a lowly person, but what did Snow White do? Snow White was in the dungeon when the brother came down there. It was the moment of escape. And I'm being reminded of a word I was listening to last night from my coach, where she was talking about that God is making room, opening a door for you. So in him opening this door, he's going to give you clearance, space to move, okay? And in that, you're going to have to break some rules. Snow White, what she did was she took that screw and she stabbed the brother in the jugular, okay? And injured him. Was it his jugular or his hand? I think it was his jugular. Or attempted to anyway. Either way, she injured him enough that she was able to get up to get out. You are the person like Snow White. She was a prisoner in her own home. I also released a word talking about the fact that some of your spouses were imprisoned in their previous relationship by the person they were with, the counterfeit, who was holding them hostage to prevent them from getting to you. Ooh, the Lord just gave me a vision. I'm about to release it to you before this word ends. In this moment, your spouse, you want me to say it now? Because he's taking me in a direction to say it now. The vision he showed me, I was reading a story. This is a story I read many years ago. It was actually a piece of fan fiction somebody wrote off of my television show I always be bragging to y'all about, that the Lord always speaks through nowadays. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Somebody wrote a piece of fiction about it. Really good story. And I'm being reminded of a scene that I read from the beginning of this piece of fiction, where both Buffy, the main character, and Angel, the one I always consider her to be her kingdom spouse, were being held captive in two cages that were next to each other, and someone was holding them in them. But they were in cages next to each other. They could not get to each other. So he was trying to reach his hand through the cage to reach her, and she was trying to hold on to him as well, by both of them trying to figure out how to get out of these cages. He was saying, I'm going to take the bars, because he was strong enough that he could pull the bars apart, but at the same time, it wasn't enough for him to get into the cage where she was. But they needed to get out before whoever it was that was coming figured out what they were doing and they could get out of there. Okay? The Lord brought that reference to me. The enemy has kept you and your spouse encaged on either side of your partition. What was your spouse encaged by? Your spouse was being encaged by slander, delay. Delay was slander, word curses, insinuation, assassination, things that were coming against them, their good name, all of this kind of stuff. But you were encaged because God had you in a spiritual isolation. Some things you could do, some things you couldn't do. But remember the thing that I always say, you and your spouse are one, tied by God together. What God has put together, let no man put asunder. Because you are tied together at this one point in your body, your leg, you can't move forward or you're going to fall flat on your face. He can't move forward or he's going to drag you, right? So you are divided by the partition, whether it's the cages, whether it's whatever it is that's encaged the both of you. Your isolation, he's been encaged. But you're trying to get to each other. You actually have been trying to get to each other. Coming back to Snow White, she was encaged in her own house. But when the guy came to let them out, or to open the door, she ran out and shut it behind her, and then had to run into the courtyard. This is her castle, but nobody was recognizing her for who she was as the princess that belonged in the castle. This was her father's house. Remember? So she ran through and she saw the people coming to chase her, right? Then she ran through the courtyard, ran over, slid into the water function. It was a water fortress where it released the water. She had nowhere to go. Some of you needed to make an effort to take a leap, and this leap was necessary in order to position you for what it was that God needed for you to do. In you taking that leap, she leaped into the water and nearly drowned. They thought she drowned at first, but the queen was like, go get her because we need to make sure that she drowned. Okay? So you wash up on the beach. That's what Snow White did. She washed up on the beach in front of a white horse. The white horse in the Bible represents the white horse in the Bible, as it states here. As I watched, the Lamb broke the first seal and of the 7 seals on the scroll. Then I heard one of the 4 living beings say with a voice like thunder, "Come, look up." I looked up and saw the white horse standing there, its rider carrying a bow and a crown that was placed on his head. He rode out to win many battles and gain victory. Tiffany Montgomery just released a word on her channel called Your Year is Called Winner, I believe it is. Or this is your winning year, something like that. So you can go look at that if it's in your time in your purview. But you are the one that will be victor. She rode off on a white horse. Whatever has been done is about to be cleared and clarified. You're about to be vindicated. There's going to be vindication and victory for you because what you were in, the dungeon, was never a place you were supposed to be. But they had to distort. Both of Christ just did a word not too long ago, within the past couple of weeks, called God is ending the distortion. Okay? People's view of you was incorrect. What God is doing is now that He needs for you to be ushered into where you're supposed to be, He has to correct the distortion that people had over you, over your spouse, the assassination over your name, the assassination over His name. What I have recognized, even if y'all listen to my review on Dirty Dancing, remember Johnny's reputation was tarnished by them thinking that he was the father of the girl dancer that he was working with, baby. He was never the father. He was her friend that was supporting her during that time frame while she was dealing with that issue. But the view of him was distorted because of it. Some of you have had a distorted view of certain things that the Lord has shown you in relation to your spouse. And some of your spouses have had a distortion of the view of who you were. So God has to come in, and now He's correcting everybody's viewpoint so that, one, the distortion can be removed and the people that are acting in sin can be exposed so that your spouse can know the counterfeit was the counterfeit because they can't hold the light up to you. Prophetic Encouragement did a word on that a while ago. And you, on the opposite hand, are the real thing. But the distortion, the veil that was covering you both, had to be removed. Therefore, the middle wall of partition, the thing that has been separating from you and your spouse, is going to be removed so that you may be able to take your rightful position. If you listen to the whole Snow White word and the huntsman, she took her place at the end of the movie. You are being prepared to take your position as God has called it to be now. Okay? But Vashti had to be deposed first. Remember, the previous queen, the I Love Lucy episode, she usurped the throne. I'm being reminded of the scripture that talked about this, Jezebel's daughter, who usurped the throne after her mother had passed and killed over 1,000 men. But when the rightful queen took position, they snatched her butt up, took her into the temple, and cut her down. Okay? I'm also being reminded, I keep seeing 119. I had 119 amount of space on my phone. 119 is the World Series number of the World Series right now. 119, God brought me to Esther 119, where the edict was declared that Vashti was removed out of not only the castle, but banished. Okay? She was completely deposed, removed, and she could not return. It's over. You are about to be positioned where you're supposed to be, and they have been thoroughly removed. They don't even have verbal access to your man no more. When we've been hearing this, but the delay has been, remember, the person was trying to get the person back, meaning they kept trying to get back in, kept doing rotations to delay so that they could get back in that position imposter, kept going back. That's what's been the delay. Now I'm going to pause here to make this statement. I am going to be doing the word on what's the movie? I Think I Love My Wife. I told y'all before, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to do it. But I need you to have the understanding right now. The Lord is showing me some things. I listened to half the movie the other day. I took notes for what I heard, but I'm going to have to go back and listen to the last hour of it, okay? The reason that I stopped listening is because they say the F word so many daggone times in that movie that it was driving my spiritual ears crazy, okay? It was just redundantly ridiculous how many times they said the F word in the first half an hour of that movie. So, you gotta be patient with me, y'all. It's gonna come. But God is having me do a dissection, because I talk about there's a word coming up. It's gonna be at the end of December, somewhere in the middle towards the end of December, where I'm gonna be talking about sex and sexuality in marriage, okay? And this movie was necessary to lead into that, okay? Because this is the thing that causes confusion and potentials for divorce. But if you don't catch it first, okay? So I'm going to come back with that. But I'm letting you know it may be a bit of a delay before it comes, okay? Because I got to get that word right, and I got to get through that movie. I'm tired of hearing the F word, okay? I'm tired of it. I need a break. So, but I see the point that's being made there. So I need to get through that in order to continue to get the revelation necessary for what I need to give y'all towards the end of that movie, okay? Keep paying attention to my podcast, because I'm going to be talking about kingdom marriage all December. Well, it's kingdom marriage and relationships all throughout the month of December. It's going the end of November through the month of December, okay? So listen to the Tajma podcast, okay? That's all I had to say for this word. I'm gonna come back because I got some more little words I gotta give y'all. Until next time, bye.